everybody to Lights of Miiva, episode 45. My name is Samalander. I'll be your GM, and I have some players.
My name is Zero, playing Lumi, the Circle of Stars druid. Apparently scrumptious crab meat.
Hello, my name is Bauer, playing Elros, the Battlemaster Fighter.
Hi, I'm Suda, playing the Warlock Rogue, Risha, who did not get to take any of the treasure rightly due her this time.
I am Sadie, playing Zari, the giant barbarian.
I'm Inter, I'm playing Crier, the fast monk.
And unfortunately, Ashes is unable to make it today. He usually plays Iberkeet, the owl-faced lizard.
Lizard?
That's what I said, but not what I meant. So,
Wizard.
Wizard. So last time, you guys got out of town after following Zika out of town, and had some conversation with the group, the Sea Slugs. After learning some things and spending some time wandering back and forth, you guys slept the night, and the giant attempted to slip away in the morning after waking up. But of course, as you had people staying up, doing watches, was unable to make it away, but still left with one of the sea slugs. About the time the rest of you are waking up, the remainder of the sea slugs who are staying there have a short conversation, and Zeke and Chad, I think, comes up to Cryo and says, so we're like gonna go ahead and go with the giant, if that's okay. We need to visit town anyway, so like, if that, thanks for hanging out. You guys can continue. We'll leave the tents here. Bye. And then heads off at monk speed to catch up. And we're watching you all carefully, sneaks out of camp, but not that sneakily. And a couple minutes later, sneaks back into camp, gets a chest out of the cave, and then sneaks out of camp again. And you guys are left alone. It's morning.
So, how about some breakfast?
Can do.
Is it going to be more than tea?
It was more than tea last time. It was just Lumi that did it, that only took the tea.
That's what I'm asking. I'm worried about him.
That's the same thing too. I think the others left me some eggs, so I'll see what I can do with those.
There are, in fact, eggs here. You're unsure of their age.
Might be a little iffy.
Drop in a pot of water if they sink or float.
They look fine to you, Zari. They sink. That's fine, right?
I guess I just boil them.
Fresh egg will sink to the bottom of the water.
Hard-boiled eggs this morning. Got it.
Eggs are easy. Like a 9 is sufficient to cook up. You got there were about a dozen eggs, so you guys cook up some hard-boiled eggs for breakfast. And the sun rises to the east, which is, it's a nice sunrise. There are some ominous clouds to the southwest of you as the sun comes up, but otherwise the sky is clear, and to your west is the strange semi-glowing pillar of whatever that is.
So, Lumi, what's the weather gonna do?
Let's see. Roadcraft. Weather check.
All right. So I would like you to make me a. Well, this is a form of divination, I believe. So I would like you to make me a D20 roll, please. I know it's technically transmutation, but sensing what the weather is going to be like for the next 24 hours is a divination in my mind. With a 2. You cast your Druidcraft spell. It takes effect like normal, and you do the normal modification to turn it into like globe of weather that you might normally see. And it becomes fuzzy. Like, your character doesn't know what a TV tuned to static, old CRT tuned to static looks like, but you do. And so it's like spark like that zzz, zzz kind of sound effect that you might get, and kind of like not quite all there, and like
Looks snowy.
shifty, right?
Luby will furrow his. Actually, relay. It looks snowy. Not sure what that's about. It doesn't feel cold enough to snow.
Guess we hurry up then.
Right. I know you told me in. Did you guys like? Did you? I. There should be some conversation about what you guys are planning on doing next.
What are we going to do next?
Sorry.
Yeah, like I said in the morning over breakfast, I think our best option is to probably head to Volley, inform them of the magically growing holes in Miiva, see if they have
Haifa.
any ideas on how to stop it, and maybe after that head to the Burgundy coast and talk to Magda. She's a dragon. I'm sure dragons know magical things that can stop magically growing sinkholes.
Are we gonna tell her about the daughter? What happened?
I'm sure it'll come up.
I'm sure there's a higher likelihood that she might already know.
I mean, if this means we get to go visit Mom, I'm okay with this.
If you remember, there was another dragon that took off towards Magda a whole lot of time ago. Might have reached there by now.
Should have reached
she-
there like months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was like a few weeks of flying away.
So yeah, let's get to bigger cities, find some extra help, maybe some extra knowledge, and see what's going on from there.
As you guys are gathering up to go, Jawbreaker comes down and lands on Iberkeet's shoulder, and I'm gonna put some words in Iberkeet's mouth, and she says, "So we're gonna try to catch up with them, or are we gonna let them stay ahead of us? Because like Jawbreaker can still see them in the distance. They're not that far. Chad and Anwir are fast, but like the rest of them are not. And Barreld keeps getting distracted."
I mean, Lucy's adorable, but that's just that many mouths for us to feed. No, thank you.
Well, if we're headed in the same direction, we can at least go that way together. They might stay in Ava longer than we do because we need to mosey on rather quickly.
Yeah, maybe do some light shopping and then continue.
Get some more freaking healers kits for Lumi.
Oh, I'm set for a while.
Yeah, but I
Well-
don't mind a nice place to sleep for once.
As Zari mentions, the healer's kit, Lumi's gonna poke his head into the cave and see if there are any more laying still there.
Give me a the search roll, please.
Investigation.
That one. It's not insight. It's not perception. With an 11, you do a fair search of this cave, and you don't find anything that seems out of place in this cave. If the floor was flat, this would be a great cave to like hole up in and sleep at night, but it's not. And it would take a fair amount of work with like pickaxes and similar to make this cave bottom flat.
Only because I saw Anwar come out from there with a clutch of healer's kits before we went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nope. Apparently I bought all of them or something.
So it's not very many hours in the day, and you realize you guys are easily exceeding the speed of the giant whose name I keep forgetting and the sea slugs. They're a little bit distractible, and like Chad does and Beryl keep like leaving the path and going off into like side passages and coming back, and Lucy almost always has something in her mouth to eat. Thank you, Dakra. And so as you guys catch up to them, the giant like looks back over his shoulders, sees you guys coming, and you get that like subtle shoulder slump, and he waves at you as you catch up.
You seem to be able to talk to them. Just tell them we're probably gonna just hoof it through Avan so we can lose us there.
Yeah, I relay that message.
Okay. He nods and says, in giant, all right, well, welcome, I guess. It is good to have a larger group in the wilds. It's safer that way. And I would like somebody to make me a luck roll with advantage, because you have such a large group of people, including a giant. Yeah, you have advantage on your travel roll. I would let you do survival or just straight, whichever one is better for you.
I have a +8 survival.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like somebody different to do every day. So this is day one.
So advantage survival.
Yeah. +8 with a 20. All right. So you guys make good time as you're traveling. In spite or because of the fact that there are so many of you, possibly with the exhortations of Dakra or Dahkra. Dakra. You guys actually make a little better time than you were expecting, and the sea slugs actually make up some of their lost time. And along the way, you find enough supplies, like somebody shoots a rabbit and you find some like edible plants, and this time of year somebody digs up some morels. So you find enough supplies that you have supper taken care of at the end of the day.
I can easily go hunting and keep up with the group if needed.
Right. And the day passes, and it's relatively easy walking, and the river is still flowing in the wrong direction at the end of this day. But it is noticeably slower than it was near town. Overnight, there's nothing too severe happens. And you guys get up, leave early, and it's the next day of travel, if I could get a roll from somebody. With an 18. Less hunting today, but still good, making good time. Berald is just chatting up a storm with Darka, who is saving the candies that he has for when he's actually in town, because he figures that, you know, with all of the small people around, he's going to have to be able to speak the common language of this area, and he can't speak that himself, so he wants to save his candies until he gets there. It's a lot of conversation that you recognize, Zari, about, you know, home and family and food, that sort of thing. Nothing terribly consequential. And I'm going to go ahead and roll. At the end of this day, the river it is still flowing in the direction of Haifa, but it is very slow, and the like water's flowing into it. It is slower than you would have expected for this location in this time of year. Oh, that should be to me. GM roll. All right, so future ones. All right. The night passes, and the next day you are approximately halfway to Ava at this point.
So I guess it's my turn then.
Sure. $17. So Lumi, you have been checking your rain gauge, or your thing every day. It hasn't rained, but it's been threatening for several days. And as the evening rolls in, a nice steady spring storm, a little bit of thunder and lightning rolls in with it. Everybody is just kind of miserable and wet, with the exception of Lucy, who doesn't care about the rain, really. At this point, the river bed is, until the rain starts, is almost dry. And depending on where you are, it looks like it might be flowing back towards Haifa, or it might be flowing towards Ava, until you guys come across a fairly large tributary flowing into it, especially as the rain picks up. And that tributary is beyond the, I guess you call it, center point of this flow, and it starts flowing towards Ava, but it is very considerably less like amount of water flowing than you would have than you're used to for this river. Just the barest like streams flowing into it.
Well, I would assume it's barely a stream, with the largest contributors to the river ending up in somewhere in the center of the earth, of most of the water was coming from past Miiva, if memory serves. And every single gallon of that water is going straight into the holes.
Well, I suppose they have to have some way to block off the river draining the other way.
We
Dam
should
of some sort, reservoir.
we should at least just tell people that the letting water past Ava might be a very bad idea.
How big is the river going back at this point? Not with us, but back.
Towards Haifa, it's about the same size. Very minuscule flow. You find a tributary that looks like it would normally flow towards, like the direction of the curve of it indicates it would normally flow towards Ava, but it gets to the river bed and very, very slowly flows towards the north southwest. And it's pretty much a trickle as well. Like you see a lot of so the river here normally would be 25, 30 feet across, probably at least as deep. Times where it would be rapids. Sometimes it'd be slower and wider, sometimes narrower and faster. But as it is right now, where you guys are currently at, there's a 3-foot stream going towards the east and towards Ava, and there's about the same, maybe an hour or two back, flowing back towards Haifa.
Maybe we should build a dam now we have a giant. Are there some big rocks nearby?
Just we'll notify people in Ava, and they can muster up some more men and more suitable building materials.
I mean, it's been 6 months. They've probably already built a dam.
I mean, Ava has a weir dam just as part of its construction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. We'll just tell them then.
The night passes with a relatively calm rainstorm ending about midnight. Lumi, every once in a while your static flickers back into visibility, but it's like a radio station or a TV that's tuned to a channel that's just barely in range, where it never quite snaps into you like full visibility, but it's not completely missing. All right.
Lots of wonder what this snow is, and as Lumi will actually tap the incorporeal orb in his hand.
You feel a tingle of energy coming from it. It's not injurious.
Now is when I actually wish Ashes was there, because Ibrikit, what do you make of this?
Ibrikit comes over and let me roll probably a knowledge roll.
Arcana, Insight, History.
Let's do Arcana. Please roll. It's not gonna, is it? There it goes. Of course he gets the natural 20. Is that a natural 20 or is that, well, it's a 28
Yup.
anyway.
That's not 20.
So I'm not going to do Ash's voice for Ibrahim well, but she says, well, you see, it's like this. Ever since what? Okay, here, let me hit a giant pause on that while my brain is thinking. What do you guys call the event where the city blew up? What is your group's term for it? I don't think we've ever really established that.
Like when Miiva's temple to
Well, when no Haifa when Haifa
when we blew up the bridge.
is this more when Georgie
did her thing,
removed great big hunks of Haifa? The Georgianing?
The Georgianing?
No.
The excavation.
Well, you guys didn't know it was an excavation until you just got there.
Yeah. Gulch boom?
I think we've just been referring to it as the ritual.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes. So when the ritual happened and and she points up to the darkening sky with the new glittering constellation overhead and the edge of visibility pillar of different atmosphere in the distance. When the ritual happened, divination has not been working correctly or well. The more powerful the divination spell, the less well it works. And your spell here, and she reaches out and like expertly cups the edge of it. Even though it is immaterial, you can tell that she is feeling the edge of the globe with both her hand and her arcana like senses, her wizarding do. Says this is a very basic divination spell that has a very limited look forward in time and a very limited ability to see, like you can only see the weather with it. And as we leave the area of the city, it will work progressively better because whatever is interfering with divination is less able to like prevent it from working. My mentor and I had been testing the edges of divination magic, but being restricted to one place, I think we didn't really understand everything that was going on. And this is super useful. And with a natural 20, she like cups underneath the spell, does something with her offhand, and pulls it away from you and says an incantation in whatever her language of magic is. And then she like motions it back to you and it is stable and showing overnight rain ending around midnight. The morning comes with overcast skies but no rain, and then rain starting around noon.
Well, thanks, Ibrigit. Looks like we get the morning off with the rain, guys. It's back on about noon.
Zeke goes, "Yay! We can dry out just enough to be to not be miserable for an hour."
I don't mind the rain.
It does.
You hardly wear any clothes, Cryer.
It plays havoc with my strings, and she pulls out her lute, and it's all out of tune, which she then torments Anweir with a little bit, like playing an out of tune version of a song.
Well, this is basically base camp getting ready to go to bed. I'm making sure the fire is going.
Right. It's not exactly easy to light a fire in the rain, but you get one going because Druidcraft, dude. And the night passes, and the next day arrives. And who would like to roll me the next day?
Be either Elrose or Risha.
Day 4 outside of Haifa.
I'll roll it. It was a survival, right?
With advantage.
Yep, with advantage.
Oh.
As you guys continue on, you start. This is about the limit of farming activity outside of Ava. You start seeing just the edges of where you would normally see farms. Because it's spring, this is the time of year where people would come out and plant fields and then retreat back towards their closer to cities with just the hope that in an incredibly good or lucky year, a field out here might produce something that they can come back out in the fall and harvest some of, or might attract, herds of Vuji or something, right? But it's more of a they don't spend a lot of time on it because it's so far away that in a not as good year, it's probably not going to be able to be maintained. This area looks, despite the fact of afternoon rain as you're getting there, the ground is drier than you had expected for, rain the last little while. And the river is slowly picking up as you are continuing to pick up tributaries heading towards Ava. But it's still not as big. And you guys get a little turned around. One of these tributaries comes up and it breaks the road in such a way that you kind of lose which path is the actual main path, and you get into one of these small farming villages that is unexpectedly completely deserted. Like, you would normally expect there to be a few people out here this time of year to just sow wild blade grass or something. And there's a couple of like ramshackle houses, and you realize that the road ends here essentially, and it shouldn't, because it should be continuing further east. So you got distracted off path somehow.
This is not the road we're looking for.
I was expecting walls, bigger buildings, bigger farms than this.
And why is it deserted?
Could I have everybody make me a perception check, please? Can I have everybody make me a lower perception check, please?
No.
No.
I was distracted and I still made a good perception check.
Yeah. Okay.
We see everything.
With the exception of Elros. You guys have been around farms some in your life, just because even if you're city kids, you still have been around the farms, even if just adventuring out to them. And as you're kind of looking this ramshackle place over, you see evidence of people having been here, and having left without spending more than maybe a night out here. With a 31, Lumi, you underneath the mattress, so there's just straw stuffed into a burlap type mattress. You find a piece of really cheap paper, with a bunch of symbols kind of written on it, that you would recognize as, like, call it a shopping list or a supplies list for one of these farming encampments. And at the bottom of it, you see a couple things crossed out. And then apparently it was just this slip of paper was just left here. A scrap of paper was just left here. It is not ancient, because in these conditions, if it had been a year old, it would have rotted.
It would probably have been stuck to the mattress instead of being peelable off like this one.
Right.
Right, so they were trying to make an order list for supplies, but they crossed out a couple of things near the end. Am I versed enough in farming nomenclature that I would know what they're trying to order and what they scratched out?
I would say history, barring something better. Barring some better skill that you can argue me into, I would say history.
No, because survival is more wilderness, less
Yeah.
what things are, and none of the others fit. So, history.
Yes. With a 16,
Can I do a help action with my, book knowledge?
sure. Roll it again, Lumi.
Roll again.
With a 19. Yeah, so this is a I guess you call it writing of somebody who is not literate necessarily. Symbology is things like how much animal fertilizer to bring out and how many seeds and that sort of thing. The stuff that's crossed out is what you would recognize as more moisture dependent crops. things like like pumpkins and similar vining plants and stuff that really wants a fair amount of moisture in the soil to grow. And what's left at the top of the list is mostly just the blade grass, whose name of course I always forget, and some like barley,
razor grass.
Thank you. So razor grass and barley, both of which are fairly tolerant to both drought and less intensive farming methods.
More set it and forget it than.
Yeah. And less like time spent. Like you basically can till up a field and then toss out these crops and then just walk away, as opposed to something like, say, pumpkins, where you have to till up a field and then build mounds and fertilize them and put the seeds in by hand and that sort of thing. Or corn, which you kind of have to corn as in maize. You have to be careful about how you spread it out, because if it's too clumped up, then it'll like a couple of plants will grow up and then choke out all the rest of its neighbors, and so on and so forth.
So I would just basically say, so yeah, they reacted to the lower water and scratched out the need for high hydration plants. Basically, barley and razor grass left on here, but does it? I'm not sure if given that this is under a mattress, I'm hesitant to say they even got that far.
The ground around here is not tilled up. There is a one bottom plow nearby that you would like use for that. And you can see where the fields would normally have been planted out here, and there's weeds growing up in them, or like leftover volunteer of last year's crops. But no work has been put into this farm.
So it might look like Ava might have issues. I'm glad I did so much work on the farms in Miiva.
So barring a better place to stay, and this place is relatively dry from the rain. I mean, don't sleep by the door and you're probably okay. You guys sleep here for the night. You've lost about a half a day of travel towards getting to Miiva. Instead of getting there in the evening of day 7, you will probably arrive noon on day 8. And I would like whoever's next to go ahead and roll the next day's travel for me.
Ooh, I'll do it. Yeet.
You have advantage.
Victory. I couldn't reach the keyboard.
Fair enough. With a 10, you guys, it's not hard to get back on the right path. You guys weren't terribly far off of it. You work your way back over to the right path. And in the evening of another day's travel, so this would be day 5, you guys get to the top of a hill, and you can see in the far distance, as the night closes down, several small collections of light, either like firelights or possibly magical lights at housing. And the right, I need to roll too. okay. As the night settles in, there rolls in a fog. And after a while, the only lights, like the most of the lights in the distance are subsumed by the fog. And what you guys are left with is off to the east and across the river, there are lights bobbing up and down in the dark, moving back and forth, bobbing up and down. Maybe 2 miles, 3 miles away, judging by the size of them and the kind of general direction. Yeah. Strangely visible in the fog, because the fog's not super thick, but it's not like you don't think you could see 3 miles in it, even if it weren't night.
That sounded like it, that an owl could possibly traverse there and back again in 4 hours.
It's only 3 miles away. An owl flies at 40, right? Or 50?
Owl has a fly speed of 60 feet.
60. So 6 miles an hour. So probably could get there and back in an hour. Maybe 2.
Yeah, I'm a call on the forces of nature through my druid abilities and send an owl to go see what their lights are.
Okay. So you give the owl some instructions. And it flies off, and if I could have a is it, you're watching it perception check from who's ever watching in that direction. Okay, yeah, I thought so.
I'll be watching it while it
Right.
goes, but does it get a perception check as well?
I'll take care of rolls for the owl.
It's
I want
at night, so not me.
I want a perception check of you who's watching where it's going toward. 25. Okay. So what you see is about half an hour after you sent the owl off. One of these lights bobs up from where it's currently at, and you see a short brightening of light, and you wait, and your owl never returns.
And this was the direction towards the city?
It is east and a little... It's across the river. East and a little across the river.
Towards the city, but other side of the river,
right,
from us. Huh. That was odd, Lumi says after waiting 3 hours to make sure the owl doesn't come back.
Ibrahit looks at you. I'm not sending Jawbreaker.
No, I'm not asking you to. There's a reason I usually send my spirits for these kind of semi dangerous things. Do we know of any being that's bright and goes brighter when it tries to hit something?
Dungeoneering? I don't think that's a skill anymore. Arcana, religion, history, nature. One of those. Different DCs for each of them.
That was a loud question asked, so other people can search their
Oh dear lord.
or their books.
Ah, it's too dark. Can't read.
So with a 24 on religion, which was the lowest DC, or a 16 on nature, which was one of the higher DCs, you both recognize creatures that fit these descriptions and especially are visible in foggy nights as
Will-o'-the-wisp?
will-o'-the-wisps.
Oh no.
But they're like over there.
Ooh, pretty.
Risha,
Pretty
don't go towards the
ouchy.
pretty lights.
Ouchie pretty, not pretty.
But they're friend shaped.
They're maybe 10 lights.
How do you
It's
see if
not
they're
friend, then
friend
why
shaped from
friend
this
shaped?
distance?
Because they're shiny. Shiny things are friend shaped.
Shiny things are friendship. I mean, I completely I can't argue with it at all.
Can I go get one? I want one.
No.
Please. Fine.
I suppose I probably should switch to the world map since you guys are like walking in the world.
Those according what teachings I remember from religion, those are not friendly. They might be friend shaped in your eyes, Risha, but they are not friend.
But I could put it in a jar and give it to Mom.
No.
They'd probably kill you before that.
Eberkeet goes, I am not going anywhere near where there's a gathering of will-o'-the-wisps. That's like graveyards. And graveyards.
Graveyards? I can get Gaius a friend too?
I thought we agreed no more skulls.
Let's return to lobby.
Well, Gaius needs femurs and like 204 other bones.
As Risha is talking, she has carefully drawn Gaius out of her bag, and the eyes are no longer glowing.
Put that down, Risha. Put it back in the bag.
But it's stuffy in there. He needs fresh air every once in a while too.
It's dead.
Don't listen to him, Gaius. They don't know what they're talking about.
All right. The night.
Dead is not the same as undead.
The
But
night.
undead does not need air.
The night passes as the fog clears out with the dawning light. The lights of the wisps fade out themselves. It is now morning of the 6th day. So if somebody would like to roll.
It's gone full circle. It's back to the druid.
20. Yeah, you guys make good time again. You didn't make up all of the time that you lost. But you do pass by, the road passes by relatively close, and there is a bridge across the road about 2 miles down, and on the other side of the river, possibly within the floodplain of the river, perhaps even normally underneath where the river was, if the river had redirected, you can see the remnants of a stone wall, covered in mud and dirt, and yeah, just quiet stone. Like, it's too big to be a building and too low. Just a stone wall with a gate that opens towards the, well, it's not the main road, but towards the road that comes off of this bridge that goes across where the river was. And otherwise, the day is relatively uneventful. At this point, you guys are coming into Ava's main farming. The word of mouth, like, you guys can tell that everybody who is along the road has seen you coming, because as you walk up and past buildings, like farming buildings near the road, like, everybody is staring at the giant in your group. And there's like whispered conversations, groups of 10 or 12 farmers, mostly adults, a couple of like 6, 7, 8-year-old kids in these groups. The kids varying between open awe and like slack-jawed staring, and some of them like hiding behind the skirts of one of probably their parents, like being scared of, but not wanting to miss out on this giant. And in giant, Dakra kind of goes, don't see many of my kind around. Must be a new experience for these folk. Risha has gone off to one of the crowds of people, and one of the children yelps and runs towards one of the buildings.
Risha, are you coming?
Oh, of course.
As evening comes in, you are welcome, or you are offered to stay the night at one of these farming villages. Is not exactly the right term. It's a group of 3 or 4 buildings. One of them is holding draft Vuji. There's piled up supplies in that building, and then there's a couple of other buildings that are like mostly just an interior space that has a roof over it, that appears to be where people sleep. There's a fire burning outdoors with a cooking boiling pot of basically gruel is probably the closest term. So grain in water, cooked thick, and then sweetened and flavored with probably like ham and other cured meats. And they're like, don't see travelers coming from Haifa way very much anymore. Just one odd fellow every once in a while comes through here, and Anweir rolls his eyes. But you guys are welcome to join us at night if you tell us a tale. Well, what's going on up the road?
Talking about up road, what's up with that little embankment with the gate in it, with a little stone building?
Like half a day up that way?
Yeah?
Old cemeteries up there. Usually it's under the river, but probably 150 years ago was an actual village up this direction. That was their cemetery.
You have no problems from it?
As long as you don't bother it, as long as you don't bother the dead don't bother you.
And then
Bombastic side eye towards Risha.
What?
Uh,
I don't bother them. I'm friends with them.
Ibrahit shudders.
I'll tell them a story, not in detail or whatever happened in Hiva, like the grooming, just trying to be a bard, basically.
Right. And so you start your story, and you hear Zika like tuning up her lute behind you, and it is about halfway through your tale, and you find that she is extemporaneously like giving you background music to your story and watching you very carefully, like speeding up her playing when you speed up and slowing it down when you slow down, and giving you extra emphasis to your words. And as your tale ends, the crowd, like there's kind of a crowd gathered around, and Zika, like there's some claps and some cheers, and so Zika takes a bow, and tunes up her own lute, changes the key on what she's playing, and dives into her own story. Story of fear and loss, and a city destroyed, friends separated and then rejoined, and evil lurking about. It's it is, you don't hear as much nature here as you have been the last few days. This place is not exactly settled, but it's not exactly wild either. You hear bird calls in the distance, but you don't see the evidence of wild packs of Vuji or even really that much land that is just wild. It is fields as far as you can see in this area. You smell the smell of freshly tilled dirt. You see the effort that these people have been placing into the soil. You see their humble but not poor supplies. And it just feels calm in a way you probably haven't felt since you even before you left Haifa. Because while Haifa is safe and home, it's not settled yet the way that this place is. And the meal is robust, if not very well seasoned. All right.
I'll thank them for sharing their food with us.
At this point, I'm not going to make anybody roll because we are settled. It is the morning. It's about noon, maybe 10 a.m. on the seasons. 2nd of Emerald plus 8 days, 10th of Emerald. When you guys see the, well, it's probably even earlier than that, when you see the dam of Ava, and you see that it is, so normally a weir dam that you guys are, your characters are all familiar with, and I think most of the players should be too, but normally a weir dam is filled until the water flows over, sometimes just a low point in the dam itself, or sometimes the entire dam wall will be the low point. And usually it, the water flows itself over the low point in the wall and proceeds to, flow down the river. You guys see evidence of people working on this dam, and it's not been that long since you last walked through here, and the dam is noticeably higher than it was the last time you came through, and they are extending the length of it to be able to capture more water, or at least attempt to capture more water in this. And it has been raised to the point where it is currently not overflowing anywhere. It's probably only maybe a couple days from its lower point being overtopped, but it is currently the entirety of the river, which I've never named the river. How did I never name the river? Welp, I will think about that. The entirety of the river is currently being sequestered into this dam, and there's only a trickle of water at the base of, maybe at the base of the dam, and then that picks up maybe 1 or 2 tributaries before it actually enters the city of Ava. But by noon, you guys have arrived at the gate of Ava. There was a short conversation between the sea slugs and Chad. Looks at you, Cryo, and is like, so we like, I guess we're gonna tell them about us coming, man. So if you want to race, I'll race you to the city. And he just, once he says that, it just takes off, just gone.
I'll wait a couple of seconds.
He disappears pretty quickly.
Then I'll catch up.
I'm pretty sure you're faster. Let me check. What is your movement speed?
60.
Chad's movement speed is on this character sheet somewhere. Why do I not see it?
Next to all the ability scores and proficiency.
Proficiencies in language, senses, saving throws.
Roll 20 character sheet or D&D Beyond character?
Beyond.
Top of the
55.
sheet.
55. So you with all confidence is like, I'm gonna leave him get ahead of me a little bit. and then you realize that you start running after him, and he's staying ahead of you better than you expected.
He
And
trained, bastard.
he's like, he just head down and running at this point. You hear kind of a laugh as you are able to eventually catch up and pass him, but it's not by much. And you arrive at the gate first, and he arrives within 20 feet behind you, and just slaps you on the shoulders and is like, haven't had a good race in a while.
Yeah, you've been training, I see.
Suppose we should tell him about like the giant and stuff.
Yeah, I'll look at the city guards.
You recognize one of them.
Oh?
Was the one who arrested you last time you were here? See if I have
Arrested us or made us seal our weapons?
that one.
Yeah.
Yep. Arsene.
I'll walk up to him.
He's like, welcome, visitors to the city. He obviously doesn't recognize you.
So we need to seal our weapons again, I guess.
Yes, if you're not citizens of Ava, I would ask that you seal your weapons.
Huh?
Huh?
Might have a little problem, not with the weapons and not with the ruling source, but there's also a giant. Well, you can see him already.
No. He points. Like, coming up over a rise is the head of Dakra. No.
He's friendly.
I would hope so. He's big. But he'll have to seal his weapons too.
Yeah. That's probably no problem, but he's welcome if he does.
As long as he doesn't break any of our laws. Look, I'm gonna have to take all of you into the city to and Chad goes, I have one of these, and holds out us a card. And he looks at the card and looks Chad over and goes, oh, okay, you can go in. Don't need your weapon sealed. Chad goes, righteous, and heads back up towards the sea slugs.
Did I see the card he put up?
Give me a perception check. It was a robust card of like cardstock paper. Fairly weighted, like thick.
Business card.
Yeah, but bigger than a business card. But smaller than a postcard.
So, get out of jail free card or get in Ava free card?
Well, not like a person known to the city. Like a lot of trade caravans have them.
Okay.
But well, you. He looks at you again.
Oh, we are with them, by the way.
I recognize you. Look familiar. You were here when the sky fell.
Yes, and we helped cleaning your city.
Oh, okay. Well, the giant's still gonna have to bind his weapon because we don't know him. But you guys are okay. I'll just let Arik know that you guys are here. And then if you talk to him later, he can get you cards in case somebody else is on the city wall when I'm not around, who, knows you and, your lives they saved you saved, you know what I mean.
Yeah, thank you very much.
He gives you kind of a half bow. About this time, the rest of you are getting close to the city. Chad has come back, and he's
I'm
like,
just waiting at the gate.
yeah, the Chad has come back to the group. He's like, we're all sea slugs, we're all fine, but you guys, he points at Risha and Zari and Elros and Lumi, and like he says you're gonna have to like bind your weapons or something, but oh yeah, and Dakar, you're gonna have to bind yours too, but we should be good. Of course, Dakar recognized none of this.
I don't got no weapon.
Best start hiding them now if you want to keep them unbound.
That's what the box is for.
Do you start
Am I close enough that I can recognize mannerisms and general body shape of the guy that bound the weapons last time?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you see Crier talking to him affably, and him not like working towards like binding Crier's weapons.
So, educated guess is that the person at least knows who Crier is by looks, if not anything else.
Right. So Suda, Risha, do you start just trying to climb on Zari's back and shove weapons into Zari's box? That sounds wrong. Don't. No. No. Bad.
At least you didn't say prison pocket.
I didn't. But is that what your takeaway is?
The box cannot
Yes.
be opened while it's on my back.
Correct.
But
It is
Zari, I
tied.
need to put it.
Do what
Looks
the
like
nice
the-
man says. We're not staying here for very long.
Looks like
Nonsense.
at least familiar with Crier. I
About
wonder if it's the same guy that bound our weapons last time.
So, in my head, tell me if I'm wrong. In my head, Risha, you're like one hand on like Zari's shoulder, one hand on the box, like one foot trying to like put on her hip, and the other one just coming up off the ground as you're like trying to get this box off of her back. Zari, you're currently like mid like shoe, like not really gonna rock Risha's world to knock her down, but like you ever had like an older sibling where the kid is like hanging on the older sibling, that sort of thing, right?
Yep.
And yeah, the rest of you are just like trying to avoid face palming as this is going on. Strawbreaker has taken off and is just circling overhead. You can tell that Iberkeet is rolling her eyes, even though you can't really see her eyes. And Chad is like, I'll go get us the same hotel room we normally get. If you guys wanna, well, we'll see you around. Bye. And he heads off, and Berald translates for Dakra. And yeah, so you come up to the guard going, so yeah, so he had his like fourth child, and she was like super not like, the mom had a really hard time giving birth. But they were able to afford healing, so they got her to a priest, and the priest was able to heal her up after she gave birth, and the baby came out like screaming, and she's either gonna be like like the rockin' bard, like a scream singer bard, or she's gonna be like a barbarian, because I swear that baby can punch harder than I can. Oh, hi, lights of Miiva, right? And friend?
Yes.
He looks up and then up more and then up further and goes,
What are you guys were fighting about, by the way? Looked like you guys were fighting. I whispered that to the group.
Sorry won't give me the box.
You don't need the box. We're not
Meanwhile,
staying
Lumi
long.
doing the offhand wave, like tell you later wave. The palm down, just kind of go away-ish wave.
he continues to look up at the giant and says, I'm sorry, sir. We're gonna have to arrest you so that we can bind any weapons we find on you.
They're not gonna take you to. Oh wait, he
Sir?
cannot understand me.
Sir, he's like waves at the giant. The giant like pays attention now, and then shrugs. Does he?
He doesn't speak Fey, he only speaks giant.
Good. That's gonna be annoying. He looks to his companion at the gate. Is like, we're gonna need a runner to find somebody who can cast tongues. Okay.
Zari switches to giant. I think they want to talk to you with the candies.
Oh, right. And he takes a candy out of his pack, out of his bag. Again, it's like a grain of rice in his hand. He sticks it on his tongue, and then looks down at the guard and says, you can speak with me now. And the guard and Arsene looks back up and blinks a couple times and goes, tongues, got it. So he can cast tongues. Good. Please, we need to interview you before you come. Well, as you come into town, to make sure you're not a problem, and also we will need to bind your weapons. If you would please come with us, sir. And he looks at the rest of you and goes, the rest of you are known good actors to the city. If you visit the castle, they can probably get you something that'll let you in without having all this rigmarole. Yeah, sir, if you could please follow me. And he motions for Dakra to follow him. The rest of you are free to go. I guess you can all come if you want to, but the rest of you are free to go.
I'll just tell to the giant. It's okay. They just, do some magic on your weapon. So if you use it to defend or attack, they know, and that's it.
He nods. It seems reasonable.
Well, Dakra, it's been a hoot and a third at least, maybe a hoot and a half. Good luck on your journeys, and may our paths not cross before you want them to. And Lumi will bow.
He bows back at you and goes, it has been an experience. If I cross your path again, may it be after destiny has found you and left. And
we might come and look up your farm.
He smiles. And Zika's like, ooh, that's a good line. I need to write that one down. And the sea slugs head off into the city in one direction. Dakra heads off into the city in a different direction with after having a chat with Berald, where he can meet up with them later. And you guys are left at the city gates.
Lumi will head off in a third direction, heading for a market, looking for a tea shop.
I'll go to the market as well, but not for tea. Maybe some healing potions would be nice.
So you guys head towards the market. It is as bustling as ever. This market is... Ooh, we should actually switch over to Ava so I can remember the layout of this city. But that... Ha! So you guys are coming in... Oh, shoot. From this gate here. Market is... There's several markets along this place. The biggest market... Oh, hey, apparently you're on the map over there. Biggest market is near the center of town where the crossroads are. But there are other markets elsewhere in the city. And so it's maybe an hour's walk through town to get to the center market. And it's a fairly uneventful journey to get yourselves there. Finding tea depends on what kind of tea do you want. If you're just looking for herbal tea like Zari has been supplying you up until now, half a dozen or more stalls have that. If you're looking for like black tea from the southern continent, that is a lot more rare. Still purchasable, but a lot more rare.
Lumia's looking for assortment. Like
Sure.
a good hunk of regular, like Lipton's or whatever, and a couple of fancier ones for when the taste gets too bland.
Right. Herbal teas, 5 copper can get you a lot of tea, because it's mostly just dried local herbs, right? 5 silver can get you probably 10 servings of imported tea. And if you want super fancy stuff, then like to give you just a really different taste, something that's I don't have good knowledge of teas to like give you a better idea, but something that's in like a fancy box that has like, this is like a gift for somebody, right? It's the tea that has like foreign dried flower petals in it, and is like got flowery language written on the box in Feyan, so it must be somewhat local, at least this box is. But you can get that for 5 brass. So copper, bronze, 5 bronze will get you probably a month's supply. Or sorry, 5 copper probably gets you a month's supply of just local herbal tea. 5 bronze will get you 10 servings of imported tea, and 5 brass will get you 5 servings of like, this is a gift for the lover that loves tea.
And is this the time when I say yes?
Yeah, I mean, it's
all of them.
It's up to you. You absolutely can.
Probably gonna buy 10 of each currency's worth. So
Okay.
10 servings of the really expensive one, 10 servings of the mildly expensive one, and 2 months of the bland herbal teas from around the corner.
Right. Crier, you were looking for healing potions.
Also for some mundane items like oil and paper, but I think that's just available.
Yeah, so mundane items absolutely just available.
Okay.
Things like healing potions. Give me a. We had a rolls for this.
I think it was just a luck roll.
I think it was. Since we're not spending, I'm assuming you guys are not planning on spending downtime here.
No, just the night, I guess. Party. Look at the rest.
Yeah,
Probably
probably.
long enough to take a bath.
Yeah.
Probably
Very
tonight.
good.
Maybe talk to the Lord tomorrow, and then leave tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, something like that. So, today.
Okay. So a 13. What is the commonality of a? I think that gets you healing potion of minor healing potion. Not minor. Brain fart. Search. 5e healing potion. Potion of healing. Magic items. There we go. Common. Oh. Yeah, just a potion of healing is common? Huh.
And what if we go bigger than that?
Uncommon. So with the 13, yeah, the city is, yeah, you would be able to find a potion of greater healing with the 13. I'll get you that. And probably 2 potions of healing. So each potion of healing would be 50 brass, and I think a greater is 150 usually. My brain is not.
50 other GMs usually do 52
250?
and then like stupid expensive for the ones over that.
Yeah, so the greater healing 250 brass. And then healing would be, there's 2 of them, I think I said. There are 50 brass each.
Then I'll just buy 1 greater.
Okay. Don't forget you guys had the whole like other you found brass in town while you were there, so.
Oh, right. How much was that? I forgot the group pot. We had chests full. I'll just buy this one. We'll see by the group later, and I buy my ink and paper, and that's it.
Yeah. I don't think it's not in the group inventory, because last entry for the group inventory was what I had written down for Anya's stuff. So I'll let you guys figure that out. What is everybody else doing?
Taking a bath. That's about it.
You just were like, screw you guys, I'm gonna find a inn and I'm gonna take a bath there.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you tell us what inn?
Nope.
Amazing. So Suda's gone. Sorry, not Suda. Arisha's gone. She's just vanished.
I'm out no direction she went.
Yeah, you saw her go, but you were like, and this one is how much and where is it from at the time?
Very nice undertones of.
This one has orange peel in it, like ground up orange peel, so that when you make it, it like smells and tastes of oranges. All right.
This one has very nice undertones of rose petals.
Elros, could I have you give me a perception check, please? Zari, what are you up to? 14.
I think I am looking for some magic items like a robe of useful items and what was the other thing? Rope of climbing.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a luck roll for each of those. Rope of useful is uncommon. Rope of climbing. is both of them are uncommon. Okay. With a 17, I'm saying you found at least the robe.
On a D100.
What's a did I?
Oh, should I have rolled D20?
Yeah,
I'm
D20.
sorry. Okay. Apologies.
Okay. No worries.
Nah.
So, 6 and 5. You found a rope and a robe. And the person who's talking to you is like saying they're magical. 100%. These are the magical items you're looking for. And they are magical. The robe is a robe of cleanliness. It basically keeps itself clean, so you don't have to wash it as often. Not that you don't have to wash it ever. It's just that you don't have to wash it as often as you would a normal robe. And the rope is a rope of winding. It's easier than normal to coil it up. It doesn't tie itself into a knot or anything. It's just easier than normal to coil it. Elros, with a 14 perception, you hear a troop of soldiers coming up the road and see a couple of one of them point at a couple who head off in a different direction, and the rest of them come towards you guys.
I will intercept. Sorry, I have a baby on me.
No worries.
Yeah, I will. I'll walk up to them as they're walking up to us. Kind of intercept a little bit because I know everyone else is kind of stuff up.
Right. One of them bows at you as you kind of walk up to him, whispers to the gal on his left. She whispers something back to him and he says, Elros of the Lights of Miiva.
That would be correct.
Could you please...
May I ask is asking?
Well, I don't have a name for him.
Now, the person who is asking,
Hold on.
how do you call it? Who sent you more?
As you walk up, Crier, he starts going, my name is, and then he goes, the First Lord has summoned the Lights of Miiva. If you would follow us, please.
Arik?
The First Lord is Julik. Or Ulik.
Alright, let me see if I can gather everybody.
He nods. So there's like 3. Zari, your dice hate you. So there's like 3 guards here. It's not like a big troop. And they just kind of wait for you guys to finish up and gather up all your things. Risha.
I'm looking around. Where is Risha?
So perfect time to cut away. Risha, you have paid 3 copper at this inn for a bath. And it took them forever. 5-10 minutes, just an interminable amount of time for them to boil some water and pour it into a tub for you. And you're just sitting there waiting. And they finally say that your bath is ready. Kind of older lady who runs this place at this time of day says your bath is ready. There's a towel laid out for you. It's just at the top of the stairs, and then it's the door at the end of the hallway. Please let me know when you're done. And you get in there and you close the door and you lock the door and you strip down and you climb up on the stairs that are, because it's above ground tub, right? So you have to like climb up on stairs to really get into it. And your foot is just entering the water when you hear
I will murder the next person who walks through that door.
Pause.
If I have to put my stinking clothes back on to come answer this door, I am not going to be happy. Who is it?
City Watch, Risha, of the Lights of Miiva.
No.
Very well. Sorry to have bothered you, ma'am. And you hear the footsteps like leave.
I didn't think I had done anything in this town yet. All I'm doing is taking a bath.
And you slip in. The water is, because you were delayed from putting your foot into it. The water is the perfect temperature. Just absolutely 100% glorious. And you slip into the bath and you see this place actually is fairly nice. There's some like dried flower petals on the side that you can put into the tub if you want. And as you reach for the flower petals, like this is like 10 minutes after this is like 10 minutes after you got in. You're just starting to get that good soak in. You've soaped up the first time and rinsed yourself off a little bit. You're just relaxing into this tub after finding these flower petals and just getting ready to do it again when you hear,
I'm not done yet. Who is it?
ma'am, we have come to collect you for the First Lord. Please come with us.
You're gonna have to pull me out of this tub kicking and screaming because I haven't bathed in Mab knows how long. But like, please, I need time.
Can I have from you a persuasion roll? A 15. There's a conversation that's like too low for you to hear through the door. And after like a couple of back, like it's a couple of male voices talking back and forth, and one of them goes, "What you can hear the no." And you get through the door. The first guy who said it, who is not the one who said no, says, "We'll wait for you until you're done, madam."
Thank you. I will be out post haste.
How long does it take you to finish your bath?
30 minutes.
It feels like glorious.
At least 30 minutes.
So you get out of the bath, get the towel out. It's not amazing towel. Like it's not terrible, but it's, a little threadbare. Get yourself dried off, get your clothes back on. And open the door to two guards flanking the door with their backs to it. And they turn toward you as they hear the door opening.
Well, lead the way, gentlemen.
One of them nods. The other one, the one on the left, rolls his eyes a little bit and is like, "Follow me." All right. So the rest of you have been brought to the entryway to the castle. And then you're left standing there. Well, no, like the entryway to the door to the castle, right? And you're left standing there, and about a half an hour later, after you've arrived, a clean-looking, fresh-ish smelling, but not super fresh smelling because she's still wearing dirty clothes, Risha walks up with two guards following her. Wet hair wet. Wet hair wet? Her hair is wet.
Well, the bath was nice. Too bad I couldn't do laundry.
We'll do laundry tonight.
A
I'm
bath is a
glad you're feeling better.
fair bit better than I got the time to do today.
We waited half an hour.
Well, I dared them to come in and get me, but they let me finish.
Yeah, understandable.
With a now complete troop of 5 soldiers, you guys are led through the same passage that you went through before, where it's like through the castle and up the stairs and across the like fancy like it's that whole same fancy thing. And the door is opened to the office of the ruler of the city, and the guards remain outside, and you guys are allowed to enter it. Inside is, of course, First Lord Julik, sitting behind his desk as always. Behind him and to his left is Zuza, his advisor, priest.
Wasn't she the wizard?
Yeah,
Court wizard.
she's a court magic user. We'll go with that. Behind him to his, so she was to his right. Which did I say?
Left.
Left. Behind him to his right is Oscar. Who was the Tias's butler. He's looking less confident than Zuza is, and Julik is sitting quietly behind his desk. As you guys enter, he stands and looks at you and says, "Welcome back to my city."
I bow and say it's a nice city to be welcomed into.
He smiles. Every time you come here, you bring interesting things. A giant this time.
Yeah, that wasn't in the plans. He crawled up out of the hole.
A hole is, I have been told, some of his tale. And so what of the city to the west? I've only heard scared rumors of the people who have fled, some of who remain in town, some of who have moved on beyond town. But you, with the exception of the sea slugs, who have bought their silence through broad application of money, with the exception of the sea slugs, you are the first to have visited inside of the town recently. So what of Haifa?
There are currently 4 large sinkholes in the city, of various sizes.
Give me a sense. Building?
3 enormous
Well,
city quarter size holes and 1 backyard sized.
He's sitting behind the desk, right?
he has stood up behind the desk.
Okay, I will approach the desk and lay down the map that I have and show him the locations of the holes.
He nods and says, "May we make a copy of this?"
As long as I'm with it. I'm not gonna hand you it over for a copy.
He looks at Zuza, who's like, she nods and heads out of the room. And he turns back to you and says, Oscar tells me that you were the last to see my daughter. That at least he knows of. What of her? She hasn't traveled towards your city, Miiva.
Not that we know of.
Yeah.
Would you know if she had gotten there?
Would
Probably.
probably have met her at some point if she'd traveled by road.
He nods.
Or get informed if
She hasn't come to Miiva. We're still maybe just over 1,000 people, and we kind of know everyone
He
that
nods.
has come and gone.
That makes sense. I'm told that you are the leaders, at least closely acquainted with the leaders of the city, or of the town. So that makes sense.
city. Yeah.
He kind of like makes the noise that you make when somebody says something that you don't quite agree with, but they're not going to correct you.
It's a work in progress.
He goes, Oscar, he points at the butler, would like to travel to Volley and look for the first daughter. And I would also like my daughter found. And
That's
so
understandable.
if you are headed in that direction, I feel like you have earned my trust to the level of, and at this point, Zuzo walks in with another person. He's like, yes, this, and Zuzo comes over. The other person looks at the map, stares at the map, rolls out a sheet of parchment that's probably 50% bigger than the map, closes his eyes and starts casting a spell. And then it's like there's this drone of magic going on in the background as he says, I believe you have earned my trust because with the 24, I forget what it's called, but there's a copy mundane words spell that you can use to copy like books and maps and stuff.
I'm not a magic user, but I want to know everything about it because it comes in handy.
I was going to say, you know exactly what this spell is because you've seen it cast before. It takes, I think, 10 minutes.
I want this
Ritual.
spell.
So he's like, I believe you've earned my trust, and Oscar is many things, but an adventurer he is not. So if you would be so kind as to take Oscar to Volley to help find my daughter, I believe he would be of service in that. And if you can find word of her, or if you can find her and send her home, that would be best. But if you can find at least word of her and deliver Oscar to her so that I know that she is safe, that would be worth a lot to me.
We will put it on our list of priorities. It is gravely concerning that your daughter is missing as well.
Is there any way we can come into contact with you on our journey easily?
Oh, we can always send a message or a sending.
Have they started working again? Doesn't Ibrikit complain that they don't always work?
I think it was only within the city.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
It was only within the city limits that it completely didn't work. They're a little bit like staticky, but not failing otherwise.
Yep.
Zuza can send the message spell, but that doesn't let you contact us. Are any of you capable of sending message? And I want to say that Eberkeet is.
Eberkeet knows sending.
Eberkeet.
Message is short range, I think.
Yes, sending.
Sending is long range.
So
Eberkeet has sending in his book
there we go.
and prepared.
So Eberkeet nods, stays silent but nods and goes, "All right." So, do you have business between here and Volley, or would you be willing to head there faster?
We were planning on getting to Volley as quickly as possible.
Okay.
You-
Let
you-
us think on that and come back tomorrow with our answer. I would say.
We are definitely
no,
heading
no.
to. We are definitely heading to Volley. Yes.
Yeah, we're heading there.
Also, I've seen you started doing your due diligence about the river going the wrong way.
It's going to be a very dry summer.
Yes. We should probably update you about the rest of the city. The holes we have determined are getting magically larger.
How quickly is this something we need to defend this city against, or is it?
It is happening rather slowly. Eberkeet relays the exact speed. There is also the air around the city is also full of iron dust, and it is causing wild magic surges when spells are cast.
That's worrying. It's
Anyone
dangerous.
who stays the night in the city will have their mark activated, allowing them to cast some of the spells that is associated with. If you leave the city limits without expending all of its energy, the energy feeds back and you get hurt.
Eberkeet also says, and if you stay in the city too long, per the sea slugs, you start changing somehow.
Yes.
And our giant friend, which we brought into the city with us, was a half snake creature when he crawled out of the hole, although he doesn't know that. Might not want to tell it to him. He nods and goes. He digs into his desk. He finds a compartment in one of the drawers, and he reaches in and he grabs grabs a handful of something you can't really hear, and he pulls up out of his desk a relatively familiar looking chest, and he opens it up and he pulls out, or he starts pulling out coins, and he pulls out he counts out 200 brass, and he says, this should be enough to see you well established in Volley for a fair amount of time. I shall give it to Oscar. He is for making arrangements and establishing you guys in a place in the city, perhaps not a hotel, but an inn, but something a little more permanent to work from. And as prepayment for this job, He looks you guys over. What would he pull? My brain. He also pulls out a couple of vials, look like potions. He's like, in case you run into danger along the way, these are the common version, but still useful. And he pulls out. No, he pulls out a. Wow. My brain, you ever just have your brain go completely blank when you're trying to think of what you're trying to think of?
Yes.
That.
99% of the time.
Fair enough. Depends on who has the brain cell.
No, I just make sure whatever I'm trying to think of is just a random thing.
He pulls out a small crystalline bell and sets it on the table very, very gently, and you can see it's see-through. It's got a like dark wooden handle on it, and the inside of the bell is stuffed with like cloth or like cotton. Yeah, thank you. It's stuffed with cotton, and he sets it very gently on the table and says, and should you find my daughter, this will be helpful to sending her home, and you may keep it afterwards should you succeed. I guess I can't take it from you should you fail. And he closes the box and sets it back beside him. And if you would follow Zuza, we can get you set up in town today, if you're willing.
Yes. A few more things about the city. Strange creatures crawling out of the holes, and there are demons disguised as city guard that are continuing to roam the city. So best not to have anyone that are not adventurers going to the city.
He nods. About this time, the wizard finishes his incantation, and there is a perfect copy of the map on the wizard's parchment. And there is margin on every side of this perfect copy of the map. And he First Lord Julik takes the new map, nods at the wizard who leaves the room, and he takes and puts the map into the box in his desk.
I missed the entire part of the gold and the thing, the bell. Just focus on his magic and what he's doing with the map.
Right. You have a really good sense of this guy's a pretty good spellcaster. Like he knows his business. So if you would head with Zuza, we will see you off to Volley.
Yeah.
We would also like it if it would also be helpful if we could get a letter of introduction to these to the Volley cities to speed along our talk with them, so they can get updated on the condition of Haifa.
Yes, good point. I wasn't expecting you in town today, so I don't have anything written up. So he kind of goes, why don't you head to the mess and get some lunch, and when you are done, I will have a couple of scrolls for you.
Okay. Hopefully between Volley, Ava, and Miiva, we can figure out how to make the situation in Haifa tenable.
I'll take my map back and I bow and say thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for having us.
He nods and he sits down at his table, pulls out a quill pen, at his desk, pulls out a quill pen and starts writing on a sheet of paper he pulls out of his desk. And Zuza goes, all right, if you follow me, I'll take you to the mess hall. She leads you down out of this room, down the fancy stairs into the lower level and into a fairly cacophonous place. It's the end of lunchtime. I think the second of those, Lumi. It's way more amusing for me if it's the second one. So, she brings you down. It's fairly cacophonous. A bunch of people wearing armor, talking, and she sits down. She shows you where to find food. Get you set up with. It's like army food, so it's like a roast vougie cut into slabs, mashed potatoes, some indecipherable root vegetable medley. Everything is like some really dark bread. Everything is really heavy and dense and full of calories, and like it's not good, but it's not bad either. And you guys have been on road food for like at least more than 2 weeks at this point, and so like it is hot and not preserved and tasty. And she sits down at the table with you guys, and she has her own plate of food. She starts eating it, but it's obvious that she's not here to eat food. She is here because she is, I don't know, babysitting you is maybe not the right term, but she catches...
Chaperoning.
Yeah, she catches each of your eyes in turn as you guys sit down with your own food. And she goes, tell me the truth. The first daughter, when you left, what was going through her head? What did you last see of her? My lord is convinced that somebody, and I have convinced him that not you, but somebody has gotten into her head and filled it with heroism and tales of adventure, and has tricked her into heading to another to probably to Volley, but tricked her, and that you just need to convince her to come home and she will come home. But tell me true, what is... You spent the most time with my daughter. With Oscar is not her friend. Oscar is her servant. I was not her friend because I was her father's servant. Her friends in town were very shallow. Not... They existed. She spent time with them, but they were very shallow.
We always warned her about the dangers of adventuring.
Yes, she had the ideas of adventuring and heroism in her mind before we arrived. We were just the physical representations of that finally come true. I don't recall saying anything. I told her that, she has important work for the city. Like, she is she can want to be an adventurer, but she needs to prepare herself if she wants to do that. And I didn't expect her to leave the very next day after we headed back home.
Did she seem likely to have found a group of rapscallions to head off with, or
No.
she
If
couldn't?
anything,
She couldn't have gone
we would
alone.
have been those rapscallions, and we weren't because she didn't join us.
She couldn't have gone alone. She isn't strong.
But wouldn't the city guards, or at least Asgard, notice that?
She slipped out of the city without the guard noticing. And we have, with magic, we know that they did not notice her leaving. And I can taste the edge of something that says that her leaving the city without noticing was magically induced. Somebody helped her out of the city. Some buddies helped her out of the city, but we didn't find evidence that she hired a group of mercenaries like yourselves, or found a group of thieves, or she just was gone. She never came home that last night that you guys were here. She just was gone.
I look at Suda and said, well, it was not us, right? Looking at Suda.
I didn't do it. You think if I could get in and out of cities undetected magically, that I would not be like raiding vaults?
Aren't you raiding faults?
No.
Yeah. Yes, but vaults that aren't guarded.
There's a small smile that crosses Zeus's face and says, I believe that about you. If she is being aided, finding her may be a challenge.
What should we do with the people who ate her?
My lord would say to remove them from her presence with the implication of killing them. I would say that would probably only drive her further away. And
what if it just is a traveling group like us, who she seeks help from?
that's what I worry about. That she hasn't been charmed, and that she is doing this of her own free will, and the more my lord tries to pull her back, the further away she will go. So, and she sets the crystalline bell on the table, because the rest of it was given to Oscar, but the crystalline bell Zuza picked up before leaving. She sets it on the table and says, be very careful with this, then, if that is the case.
Oh, what's that?
What does it do?
She looks at you all for a strong second, like catches your eyes and holds it for a strong second, and it is a bell of charming. Ring it once, and a person will be your friend for an hour. Ring it twice, and a person will be your ally for a day. Ring it continuously, and a person will lose their mind eventually.
Why would anyone make one of these? That's horrible.
Sometimes it's more important that you have an ally than you have a friend. And she takes the last bite of her bread and stands up and says, "A guard will lead you to the teleportation circle. I must make some preparations."
A moment, please, before you go. You called her your daughter. Was that a figure of speech or?
Sorry, if it's not clear, she is the first daughter. She is not my daughter. I was not her mother. Her mother passed some time ago. I like to think that perhaps I was a bit of a motherly figure growing up, and I care for her very deeply. But the First Lord is not my lover and not my husband, and I would not seek to put myself in that position. I am ever a loyal servant to him.
Do we have to go right now, or could we just have one night of decent sleep somewhere here?
I feel like Oscar can get you... I will talk to Oscar. The First Lord would prefer you got working as quickly as possible, but I will talk to Oscar.
You've been on the roads, man.
She nods.
And to answer your initial questions, if anyone would have charmed the First Order, I think you may look no further than the library in her house. For they are filled with tales of adventure and heroes of yonder.
She nods, perhaps a little sad. Very well. I'll talk to Oscar. If you are going to stay here tonight, he will find you here. Otherwise, when you're ready to leave, find a guard. And good luck. Well, I guess I will see you before you go, because I have to run the circle. She smiles. If you have any questions for me at that time, let me know, and I can answer anything. I may think of a question or more for you between now and then as well. And we pan focus. We see the crystal, the bell of charming on the table. And as we focus in on it, the camera frame pushes through into a back alleyway where we see a young woman who is got a set of leather armor on. It's not very well fitted to her, but it is serviceable. She has a dagger on one hip and a short sword on the other hip. And she says to somebody behind her, I think it's this way, ma'am. I think this is what we're looking for. And we pull back a little further and we see Tiasa with a hair that has been cut short and braided close. A grim expression on her face, and a set of dirty and worn, but not ratty and worn out clothes. And she goes, "Good. Good. Yes, I think this is the path forward." And we'll go ahead and end there. And so thank you to my players for playing. Thank you to everybody for watching. It has been great having you here. Bye.